What's up, guys? It is Adam, and I am back today to introduce to you guys something new for the channel, something new, something a little fresh. And with me, I have my friend GatSolar.
Yo, what's up? As he said, my name is GatSolar. This is my friend Adam, since we can introduce each other.
Exactly. So we're both here today to start something that we're just gonna try, something new where we just, well, actually, let's introduce ourselves a little bit. So you guys kind of know me. I've been doing YouTube stuff on here for a long time. Most of you guys on the channel currently know me as the shoe guy, the Adidas guy, and coincidentally enough, that's how Gat and I both met each other. So we both started working at a local shoe store here, at the local mall here, and we always have a lot of fun conversations. I'd say, right?
That's right. We're just a couple of sneakerologists, trying to make the day go by a little bit faster.
And so, in the course of us doing that, we've always had fun conversations ranging from current like pop culture things, whether that's talking about like Star Wars or Game of Thrones or Marvel or anime. Even latest shoes that are coming out too. He's a big LeBron fan. I'm a big D Rose fan.
Strive for greatness.
Hey, I'm all in for D Rose. That's all I guess I can say. But so we don't get to work together with each other much anymore because we're both been finishing up our degrees recently, and so it's nice. We thought, well, you know what? For posterity, let's go and let's record our conversations and share them with the world, right?
Exactly. We just haven't been having these conversations like we used to, and we want to be able to have something recorded because we know that someday our grandchildren are going to be listening to this and they say, why were they so stupid? How did it start? And we want to show them this is how it started. Or if the aliens out there, they got to listen to something too.
Exactly. They can just track it right back to this moment. So when you guys look up to the sky and wondered what's up with that, like what's going on, why is this thing happening, you can blame the two of us. And so, with that being said, today we figured we'd share our thoughts on Avengers Endgame. This is gonna be full of spoilers, I'd say, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the end of the game. The game is over. So let's let them know. This is what happened. So if you're listening to this, I hope you've seen it because we're sharing everything. I mean, the moment that Captain America and Iron Man kissed in front of Thanos to throw him off, I was like, man, that's wild, dude. That's some social equality, stuff. Everybody's welcome here.
You see, and I like that moment a lot too, just because of the fact that Peter Quill talks about the dance to save the universe. Well, the kiss off to save the universe now. I'm telling you, that's a 10 out of 10. Would recommend that moment again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was great. And then that dance number. We haven't seen something like that since West Side Story.
It's a classic throwback. But it's also kind of like it's like Footloose.
Yeah, we didn't. When these dance numbers happen, like, I knew that dancing could save the universe. I mean, it could save a town in Footloose, but could it save the universe? Huh, dang right it could.
And we have to thank our main man, the Hulk, for that.
Yeah.
That's a great service to be done for the universe. Perfectly balanced, right?
Well, anyways, I hope anyone who was getting all those spoilers has left by now or wanting to avoid the spoilers. But actually, we'll keep it real. We'll keep it 100, as the kids say. No cap in here. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. Let's set the stage. Adam went and saw it the Thursday night premiere.
Yeah.
And so what was that like for you?
Thursday night premiere was awesome. So I'd say it was funny because me and a couple buddies were rushing from my senior thesis film had premiered that night, and so we had tickets in a town about an hour away that has an IMAX theater in it. So we all hopped in my car together and we dipped to make it to Council Bluffs in time. And by the time that we got there, the trailers had already started. I actually just missed seeing the Rise of Skywalker trailer in IMAX. I was a little bit salty, but I was like, you know what? We made it. It's gonna be great. The theater was packed, and I was just like, you know what? It's about to be a really, really emotional 3 hours probably. And sat down and got into it. And the entire vibe of the room and the audience was everyone was really engaged. There was a person next to me that as the film started up, she was already like tearing up and crying, and I was like, you know what's up, you know what's about to go down. And so that was pretty cool. Gat just saw it today, less than like what, almost like you finished it about maybe like an hour or so ago
Yeah, about
now?
an hour ago.
So yeah, the cool thing is, his reactions are gonna be pretty, fresh and hot takes. And I've had, I guess, a couple of days to sit and think about some things on it. So, what was it like for you today with the audiences? Were people still like jazzed? Was it still a full house?
Yeah, it was still packed. I mean, I kind of wasn't thinking about it. I mean, had a busy day, and so I was getting there a little bit late too. I did get there in time for this, the Star Wars trailer. I was gonna ask you how was that like. I'm glad I didn't, because then it would have just brought some tears. But got there in time for some of those trailers. The buzz was still palpable though. There was not an empty seat. A couple days later, no surprise. I think this movie is gonna do massive numbers. But it was crazy. So we're sitting in there, and from the very opening scene when Hawkeye is playing, shooting those arrows, I mean, the lady next to me was crying. Like, I was hearing her sniffle. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a journey. This is gonna be a ride, because we're starting hot. Actually, I mean, it's pretty sad, and I could feel the emotion too. So I was just going, there was moments people were crying, like literally, like sometimes you hear a movie or you're watching a movie, and sometimes people are like crying a little bit. I'm crying a little bit. I'm an emotional guy. But everyone was crying. Like, I was hearing sniffles to the left, sniffles behind me, sniffles to the right, and then there was those funny moments that everyone was laughing. Like, this was crazy. This was, everything was coming together, and it was an awesome experience. And like, to be honest, like, I just had 3 hours of this journey, this penultimate experience of 22 movies in. I am exhausted. That was a freaking ride.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, I mean. Yeah, starting off on the Hawkeye moment, like, I mean, I had predicted my friends. I said, bet you the film starts today. We see Hawkeye's family get dusted, and I was kind of laughing about it. And I'm sitting there going, oh shit, they're actually about to dust Hawkeye's family in front of everybody. That's not cool, man.
It was good though. I thought it was a good choice. I mean, maybe it was obvious, but I still liked it.
Oh, I totally agree. Like, I think it was smart because, I mean, it was like, in case you forgot what happened, let's show you how it affected one of our other Avengers. And then everything from there just, I mean, it just was hitting the moments right. Like, I think, do we want to just kind of like just go down the line of like stuff from like moment to moment in the film?
Yeah, sure. And I mean, too, were you spoiled at all for this?
No, I was not spoiled at all. So I knew nothing going into it besides like what I've read in the comics. Yeah, that's all.
And did you make some like other predictions, like big overarching predictions? Did your predictions come true too?
There was a couple of big overarching predictions that I made as well, but there were some that I kind of felt like they were just ones that pretty much like everyone made.
Yeah.
Like I assumed that early on in the film they would probably face Thanos, and I didn't know how they'd win, but I wasn't expecting him to get his head cut off.
That was kind of sick. Like, that was pretty, like Thor walking out that window or that door, and he's standing there with like that door framing him, and like
and totally, and also like just I love how it was all out of focus, and then it just jumps 5 years ahead. It's like.
Good. Yeah, I did not have any. Well, okay, kind of had some spoilers. So a little bit of background. I'm a social sciences secondary teacher, and that's
and damn, I'm an idiot.
You are popular. Yeah. That's why it's good not to have friends. You don't get any
big
messages.
Dummy. Big mistake.
No, so I'm a teacher and of middle school kids right now, and we were playing this game. There's a game called Gimkit. I don't know if you guys know if you're out of high school, but they play Kahoot, they play Quizlet Live, and Gimkit. And there's this new mode on it called Thanos mode. And so the kids all try to, they answer questions about social studies, because this is one that we made. And they're trying to they have to earn the money to get the Infinity Stones. So then once the first student that gets these stones, they can fill it up, and then they can snap their fingers, and then in 22 seconds... Oh, I never had that connection. 22 seconds, because 22 movies. 22 seconds, and then it just randomly decides throughout the class who survived and who died. And so, but when the kids are choosing their names for the game, like, they can choose whatever they want. And the one kid was like, Iron Man dies in all capital letters, because this was yesterday. Some kids had seen the movie on Thursday night. So yeah. So I mean, but I wasn't a surprise. Like I mean, we'd been thinking that maybe Iron Man was gonna die. You know, maybe Cap was gonna die. Maybe even Thor was gonna die. Because though anything was on the table, all the
Right.
cards were on the table. So like whether it was a spoiler or not, like I don't think anyone's surprised. I mean, you hear these stories about these jerks that are coming out of the theater and standing out there where they're yelling out spoilers. There was a man that was arrested in Hong Kong I just saw because he was yelling out in-game spoilers. So don't do that if you haven't seen the movie yet, and then you see it. Don't ever go do the spoilers because these are some important moments here. Like if that happened to me, this is like my family I've been watching for 22 movies.
Exactly.
So no spoilers really for me, but the obvious predictions.
Right.
But like my mom's prediction, I just came from my mom's house. She thinks that Ant-Man is gonna crawl into Thanos' ear, and so I just had to say, yeah, that's a pretty good prediction. So yeah, that didn't happen. So.
And I was disappointed because it would have been funny. But
yeah,
no.
I mean, I could see it. That's a good try.
I think it would have been. I think that's one of the things where I was actually surprised because the character of Scott Lang, like I could see him making that joke.
Yeah.
I could see him going, "Wait a minute, but what if I just just crawl into Thanos and we just, I could just see him making that joke and having someone like Rhodey looking at him going, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
God.
Just like what did she say? When idiot in the landing zone, watch out! There's an idiot in the landing zone.
Yes, like when Scott was trying to just eat a taco.
The taco meat all flew out of the taco. That was pretty good. But yeah, if you just want to go through the scenes or anything that you remember, that's still totally cool.
So I think so starting like for like moments that I guess were like shocking and were really pivotal. I for one thought, as much as everyone talked about, the Russos are probably they're messing with the footage to throw us off. Tony looks like Steve Rogers out of the first Avenger film.
Oh yeah.
He is like he's lost so much weight in that first sequence of the film, and I honestly it irritates me how comic book films get kind of blacklisted when it comes to the Oscars, and I wonder if that'll be different this year in the sense that like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in this film I think is commendable because at all of his first interactions when he does get back to Earth, because that's one of the things too where it's like prediction Tony's gonna get back to Earth, of course, but all of his interactions are so, I think, just real. You want to, because you think, oh, he's our hero, he's gonna be like, yeah, let's gear up there and go up there and fight Thanos and kill him and get our avenge. We're gonna be damn sure to avenge it. But no, he's pissed. He's mad with Cap still. He's like, you said that we would lose together too. Well, we did, and it's like, oh shit, he's angry and he's scared, and it's just really real. And Robert Downey Jr. just like he always does a great job as Tony Stark, but especially in his Swan Song, like he really just gave some great performances, and that performance to me at the start just like that had me feeling some type of way.
Yeah.
Because originally I was like, man, I hope Tony doesn't come in here and wants to be a jerk to Steve, but I kind of agreed with him somewhat.
They still had a lot of baggage to get through, to like move on, because they had to address, their past and they to be able to move on. So I think that was really important. I didn't like that early joke where he said Rocket was a Build-A-Bear, because he was like kind of like distraught state, and then he just says, "Oh, I thought that was a Build-A-Bear." Like I wouldn't have thought he would make a joke and then they just go right back to like more serious like drama. But maybe everyone else liked it, but like I did. I thought that I was still hurting a little bit inside right there. So
like, and that's the thing though too. There were some jokes that I think the jokes for the most part were pretty well placed, because there were times in that first like half of the film where it's like nothing happening really is like funny. Like this is all like really depressingly sad stuff. But then like a small joke like that would be said, and for me, the audience, it's not the audience didn't laugh at it, but the audience like they laughed, but then it was still a thing of like, I'm really hurting. So you'd laugh, but you'd be instantly right back in the scene, which I think was good, because it's like, give you a little release of tension, because we're about to make it really, really tense, because we got to sedate Tony Stark, because he literally is losing his shit with people, because he's upset. He's upset and he's distraught. He saw everyone die in front of him. And like I thought it was interesting too when they were on the ship in space, that he was teaching Nebula how to play
Oh yeah, the paper football.
Yeah, the paper football. Like I wasn't really
That's
expecting that, but it was.
That's good.
Yeah, it was good, and it just showed the fact of like, I don't know, just they've been through. Everyone's like has been through so much at the start of that movie. And then when they go with Captain Marvel and all of them, they all team up. The one thing I did predict was I saw when Good Morning America showed that scene of Captain Marvel talking with the Avengers and be like, "Well, let's go get him." And then with Steve saying like, "Let's go kill that. Let's go get this son of a bitch." That I was like, "Oh, that's the movie. That's right before the logo." I'm like, "It has to be right before the logo comes up." And so it did. I was like, "Hey,
that's a pretty good prediction."
I'm like, but I think for me it more was because the music cue in that preview was so obvious to me that like that's the build up right to the logo moment. And I'm getting chills though too because like the score for the entire film I think was pretty good as well. Because Marvel has been, in my opinion, pretty lackluster when it comes to scores.
Yeah, they're kind of a lot of times really generic.
Yeah, like
and not too like recognizable. I mean, you know that Avengers theme song by now at this point, but it's very similar to like a lot of other theme songs you hear in video games and just a lot of different things.
I think the top three like Marvel films for like score have to be like Infinity War, Endgame, and Black Panther for me at least because they're the most unique and they they just stand out because even this is just jumping like way ahead but just score wise when Clint and Black Widow are about to do the Soul Stone and the score is the same score used from Infinity War with a little bit of extra pieces added to it, but it instantly brings you back to that moment with Gamora, and so you're feeling both of them in the same way, but even more so because I think more people are attached to Black Widow over the course of all the films.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting, fighting each other, for the right to die for the people that they loved.
Yeah.
That was sad, but these original Avengers, man, we gotta knock them off somehow.
No joke. And I guess, while we're on that moment, we might as well talk about it. That way we can skip past it later. But, like, I felt so bad for Hawkeye in that moment, only because I don't think...
Or was he Ronin?
It's true. I felt so bad for him at that point, just because he... at least in that moment, he lost... He would have no one he really cared about alive.
Yeah. And
I don't think... Black Widow really, I don't think Natasha really understood that in a sense, but it's, I get what she was trying to do as well. But I will say that actually is the one thing I did not expect. I did not expect her to die, especially not in that fashion.
Yeah.
Like I thought, because to me there's like deaths that are like predictable, like Iron Man.
Yep.
But then there's deaths where it's like, oh, that makes sense because that's a major character, like Cap, or even like Thor, for example. If Thor were to have died, something like along those lines, that would have made a lot of sense. But I just wasn't expecting Black Widow to die, especially because I'm like, oh, she's got her standalone film coming out, and now I'm like, it's definitely gonna be a prequel, right?
Yep.
Because she dead.
Yeah, that is a really interesting thought. But in hindsight, it's not. It doesn't feel surprising to me in hindsight, and it's just like really makes sense that this is the end of a major journey. Where it's like, it's interesting that it's kind of like almost like a TV series. Like they kind of made a movie series like episodic, which is really interesting, and that is an incredible undertaking to think how much planning and I don't know the scope of it. You're the one who makes films, so like what it takes, like how much do they plan out before? Did they know that this is where it was all gonna go? Like that's incredible to think. But like for having all those characters, the original ones, like in the credits, they were really focusing. That was pretty dope too. Those credits. I know I'm jumping all the way to the end.
No, I agree with you because it was like it was giving the respect to all of the Avengers, the first Avengers, by giving them these dope end credits sequence where you throw up, the actor's name, and it was their signatures too.
Yeah, that was
and
nice.
It was like I'm getting chills thinking about because it just was really cool. And the thing that I would say, like you said, talking about like how far it's been planned, Kevin Feige's talked about the fact that they've been, throwing, they've been like literally spent hours and hours in a room talking about, what characters are going to be in the last two like Avengers films. And the interesting thing about all of that to me is their ability to plan ahead, but also to be flexible in said plan, but know where they're going, which I think is a great thing when it comes to like collaboration, because like Kevin Feige said, like, we always wanted to get Spider-Man, we didn't know that we could, but we wanted to get him, and then when they did, it was like, cool. How can we make this work organically? That's not just like forcing our hand. And I think all the planning and all the execution, like. The biggest, to everyone I've been saying, like the non-spoiler thing I've been saying to everyone about this film is, it feels like I never need to see another Marvel movie again. Yeah. I really truly feel that way. And I actually think that we'll go to at the end.
Yeah.
At the end to talk about. But like, I think, in terms of like other moments throughout the film, I think like, Professor Hulk is cool.
Oh yeah, that's
like
fun.
It was like kind of funny how like because they go meet Thanos.
Dabbing.
Right? Yeah.
He's like the dad Hulk.
Yeah, literally, like it's just so weird, but it's funny because what happens is like they fight Thanos, and by fight I mean they literally kick his ass and then cut his head off.
Yeah, man, that's
like,
crazy.
And in the film, then that's like one of the first like 15 minutes, and then the film jumps 5 years into the future, and Tony has a family now with Pepper, and he has a daughter.
Man, that was so good.
Yeah, like that had me emotional. 'Cause I'm like, has a daughter, and I'm like, okay, and him and Pepper are together. I'm like,
hey, Adam,
oh,
I love you 3000.
Hey man, don't do this, man. Why we gotta do this now?
Yeah.
About to say, you hear that? She loves me 3,000. You love me like. Like 600, 800.
Yeah.
The joke, like
800, 900.
And that's the other thing too. Like there's no other film. Like I've been questioning how much this movie is gonna feel like how Episode 9 is gonna feel, because it's the end of something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Episode 9 could ever even do it, because it's different in the sense of like all the characters that we cared about from the start are all the way there at the end. For the most part, and then you see the end of their stories there, whereas Episode 9 is gonna be the end of like this whole saga as well, but it's not. I don't think there's any way it can have the same feeling that Endgame had, because Endgame I'm sitting here watching all these characters, I'm like, this is the wrap up for most of these people. Like, this is pretty freaking cool, and like you've just gotten to know and love these characters so deeply over the past 10 years. Like, I myself went back and rewatched a lot of the Iron Man films. I watched like most of the Iron Man films. I didn't watch all three. I watched scenes from 3, which helped me in the end for the funeral scene, because otherwise I would not have known who the hell that kid was in the background.
Oh, I didn't know who that was. Yeah. I was gonna ask you. I didn't know who that kid was.
That's the kid from Iron Man 3.
Okay, I don't even remember.
It's weird. I'm like, who is this random kid?
Whose man's is this?
Yeah, whose man's is this to stay in the background looking sad and stuff?
He's the janitor, just cleaning up the house.
He's like,
oh, are you doing something?
He's the new butler. He's the new Jarvis.
That's what I almost thought that. Actually, like, is he related to Jarvis somehow? I mean, that's like.
But like having it all come together, like with seeing all these people just getting to interact in such like organic ways is cool. Professor Hulk was cool. When Ant-Man shows up and he finds out like what's happened, and he has the whole plan to use time travel. I think that's cool. There's a lot of people that I remember were talking about time travel being the thing before, because there were leaks of seeing them in their old like Avengers outfit from 2012. Which I also love the fact that they showed the whole 360 shot from the first Avengers film, because I think it was their way of saying, y'all remember how cool this was?
Yeah.
Just wait about an hour. Wait about an hour.
No, man, dude, that was low-key genius. Like, I mean, I hear some people like maybe complain about like the flashback elements, and like I thought it was super cool, because this is like we talked about the penultimate Avengers movie, and like the way that they were able to go back and like touch on those moments, like Captain America saying, "I can do this all day."
Yeah,
like,
I know you
like,
can.
So many throwbacks and like so many callbacks to themselves, like because they have that rich history now for these last 13 years or whatever. What year did the first Iron Man come out?
2008.
Okay, so yeah, not quite 13
Yeah.
years, but like over a decade of time here. So that's crazy. I mean, I thought it was genius, really, to like have those moments. It was really cool.
Like I think some of my favorite. I'm a huge Cap fanboy, so like I loved.
America's ass.
Hey, I love that comment, and I love how many he's look because he has to fight himself from 2012 too, and so
What if you had to fight yourself from 2012? Who would win?
I think I would get arrested for like child abuse.
Okay, I would beat myself in 2012. I'm way smarter than I was. I'm craftier. I'm old man crafty.
I agree. That was the one thing I thought was funny. I thought Cap was gonna easily handle himself in 2012. Like, you've been doing all this training, all this new martial arts, like you got it. But then it was kind of a close fight. But it was funny to me too because he's like, I joked and I said, oh, he said a safe word. He's like, Bucky's alive, and he's like, what? And he knocked himself out. But I think like even as a comic book fan, I don't really buy the Marvel comic books now, but I keep up to date with like what's going on. So it was maybe a year or two ago that they did this whole twist where Cap was actually a Hydra agent, and so they ended the comic with him saying "Hail Hydra," and people were pissed, and I was angry. But I have to say, when he gets in the elevator with all and I thought it was gonna be a rehash of Winter Soldier, and so I was ready for him to say before we begin, "Does anybody want to get out?" But he was like, "No, I got this." He's like, "Hail Hydra." I was like, wait a minute. Like,
that was funny.
That had me.
People were clapping. Like, that was another thing during the theater. Like, there wasn't really the clapping at the end of the movie because it was kind of an interesting end. But like throughout the movie, everyone was just clapping at so many random moments. Did they do that in your theater?
Yes. Like, I have to say, embarrassingly so. The Avengers movies or films were like, I don't hold in my reactions too much in the theaters like the past 2 years. So there were moments in this film where I was that probably annoying dude in the very back, because I'm in the back row of the theater, that was like, oh shit, hey! Like, I'm yelling, I'm getting super hyped because I'm like, yes! Like, 'cause this is what I want to see! Give me what I want! But people were clapping and applauding, and yeah, a lot of people applauded at that moment and I was like, I'm with it.
So that's a difference between you and I. So you're a back row sitter in the theater. I'm like a front row sitter. I like to sit as close to the screen as I can, so that like I see nothing else, because I'm in this movie. I'm like in this world. So that's interesting. Another thing that's different is like I'm not trying to be reacting. Like I feel like kind of cringe a little bit when people are clapping and like, dude, it's a movie, they can't hear you. So, but also I'm like, don't look at me, let's watch the movie. So
right.
I try not to have reactions because I used to react all the time, and then I got in trouble at the theaters. Some theaters nowadays don't let you talk at all. So, but yeah, so that's a difference between us. But yeah, crazy audience interaction. A lot of people are definitely like you, where so many people are talking to the screen, telling the superheroes what to do. But that's pretty funny.
Yeah, like I think the worst thing I did in the theater in terms of like talking or reacting was there were certain moments where I was like, I know what they're about to say. I'm like, say it.
Yeah.
I'm like, do it. Say it.
Yeah.
Do it. And there's our moments too where like there's certain things like in the fights where I'm like, come on, man. Like when it goes into like the final fight, the one thing I will talk about real quick is when Thor put out both hands, I said, oh shit, he's gonna dual wield? Like that's like the first words out my mouth. I was like, and he did. I was like, oh, this is hype. I'm here.
That was so sick.
I'm like, I'm so here for this.
I can't believe we made this far and we haven't mentioned Thor and his belly.
He's like a Viking.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, he seems a lot like a Viking, kind of in retirement. But man, I empathize, dude. That dude has seen some things. He's running, trying to hide from his problems. That was actually kind of a little bit emotional, like seeing a man trying to deal with like the things that he's seen, which is pretty cool. And he never really had time in the movie to get in shape again, so like even in the final battles he's like a man fighting with a belly. So I mean, that gives some hope for the rest of us. So if there's like a final world-ending battle that we got to go through, if we got a belly, I think we can hold our own, as long as we're worthy.
Yes,
like Cap.
Man, yes, exactly. Like I can't wait to talk about that moment, because that's the moment.
Talk about it.
That's my moment where I really lost my shit. Honestly, like when I saw that like Thor got knocked down and I saw the hammer start to move, I'm like, that's not Thor, is it? I said, it's not. I said, they're not going to. They're not going. And when Cap had it, I lost my shit.
Yeah, that fight was so sick, and he was so natural with it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I was like, he was just like,
he was smooth with it. He was using the lightning. He was using the shield. I was like, come on, like Captain America is that dude.
There's some thoughts out there that I think like. Why is he able to use that lightning and stuff? Because I had that thought first, but then I guess isn't the inscription like he whoever is worthy shall be able to have the power of Thor or something? Paraphrase, you know, I'm
I believe so.
So I think like he has the power of Thor if he's able to wield that hammer.
Yes, exactly. And then some people were saying, well, I knew it. He's always been worthy. I'm like, no. I'm like, I think the reason why he was able to lift it here and compared to like Age of Ultron is because in Age of Ultron he was still holding that secret from Tony about Bucky, but now Cap's a clean slate, man. Like he doesn't have that holding him back anymore, and so that I think that was the one thing where he's now fully worthy, and that was just
he needed that journey throughout these movies, like that we went along with him to get worthy, and I think even the way it comes together with Tony Stark. I mean, everything. I think everything along the way, like the pain that he's felt. Like I think there's a lot that goes into like this is the only time he would have been worthy after everything. Yeah,
and I love seeing the interaction between him and Tony throughout the film because I mean, even in the film, it takes a journey where it's like they aren't just friends again right away. Steve is still Steve, and Steve's like trying to be his friend, but Tony's kind of still like, nah, I'm cool not talking with you like whatsoever. Don't want to be bothered with you. But then even like when he shows back up and to Avengers HQ and he gives Cap his shield, he goes, all right, now but keep it on the down low. I didn't bring one for everybody. And then at the end, right before the fight, Tony again gives it to Steve, and he's like, you lose it again, I'm not giving it back. And that final, I think we might as well just jump to the final fight because there's so much in that final fight that's just like epic. And the thing is, like, seeing the 2014 Thanos versus like 2018 Thanos, no competition. Like no Cap. Like the one we had in Infinity War, that man is weak. Honestly, the one we had from 2014 Thanos was out here taking names.
Yeah,
like he was really going at it, and I honestly was never so scared in watching a fight sequence before than I was watching Steve take on Thanos. When he was fighting pretty much by himself, he was holding his own. I thought it was epic. But as Thanos was attacking him with that double-sided sword and hitting the shield, and the shield started cracking and flung his ass across the field, I was like, oh my god, like, Steve's about to... I thought he was about to die.
There were so many times I thought he was going to die. Like, okay, so then that shield thing, it's breaking. Oh, I was like, okay, he survived that. And then later, like, he jumps on his back, and I'm like, oh, he's just going to turn around, like, stab him in the gut, get him off. Like, there were so many times I was afraid for Cap's life during that fight.
Like, I was so worried. But then, man, like, in perfect, like, cinema faction, and only in a way only I think films can do this type of like storytelling visually. Seeing where the music kind of cuts down out and you have nothing but Steve on the ground panting, trying to pull himself back up. The shield's been broken in half. He tightens the straps up. And then there's that beautiful wide shot where pretty much in my memory everyone's pretty much silhouetted, and you have Thanos and the entire army on one side of the screen.
Yeah.
And you have this lone man, Steve Rogers, the man out of time, standing to face down this entire threat by himself. It's so like it's so my two other like favorite characters in fiction are Luke Skywalker and Jon Snow, and to me it's the Luke Skywalker facing down the entire First Order from Last Jedi, and it's the Jon Snow like right before the Battle of the Bastards when he draws his sword and he's like, well, this is it, but I'm gonna go down fighting. That shot made me tear up so hard. And then when you hear just like Sam over the mic like calling him, it's like, Cap, on your left, and you're like, oh shit, here we go.
Dude, that was just like such like a nerd dream, like almost like fan fiction. Like you have all these heroes like lining up, they're charging at all the bad guys. Like I mean that's just something you'd see straight on the cover of a comic book.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty crazy, and we have like a Pegasus flying through there. That was honestly an incredible fight. Like in some ways it was like almost too much, but no, it wasn't, because this is like 22 freaking movies.
Right.
Like we got to get to this moment.
And it's
We
like,
got to have this payoff.
I forget which character was the one that says, but maybe you remember. It's like, what did you expect more? Like I can't remember what.
It was who's that guy who's with Doctor Strange?
Oh, Wong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was epic. And then I knew it was gonna happen in this movie. I was glad it did. But that was again one of the moments where I was like saying a line beforehand where I was like, Avengers. I'm like, say it. Assemble. And it's like, oh my god. And then when they all start running into battle and both sides are coming at each other, that's just the most like epic thing. And I don't think we have on Sunday tomorrow we will have the big battle at Winterfell and Game of Thrones, but man, nothing I don't think there's anything Marvel can ever do to top that moment in terms of a fight, in terms of like right before the battle. Like they could do another 10 years and they could have all these same characters and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four or whatever.
Dude, that's
like
pretty interesting.
Like I would be pretty hyped, but I don't think it will ever feel like this moment does.
That's true.
Cuz this moment, like I said, when they did the little like 360 pan around shot from 2012, the first Avengers, that was cool. But it was like reminding you like, okay, this is where we were at, and now look at where we're at. And it's just like insane.
Yeah, it's like something that has like, to me, doesn't seem like has ever been done before. They've like really accomplished something kind of remarkable just throughout it. I mean, I just keep going back to the idea of this journey, and like it's a long journey. This movie was a journey, but this whole journey, it was pretty incredible. I loved seeing Spider-Man. Spider-Man's probably my favorite character in the Marvel universe. And I love seeing like this funny Spider-Man trying to swing through there. He had to get all that help. What'd you think about that moment? That girl power moment where they had like all those girls? I thought that was
really cool. And the only thing I thought was that if for fans of Black Widow, I was like, this is somewhat tragic because this moment happens. And I know everyone thought Black Widow would be a part of it, but she's not. She's dead. And I'm like, damn. But that was cool. And they all like it. I just think that they there was enough like fan servicey moments that I think. Sometimes it's weird. This is one of the few times I think where I would say any fan service moment that was done in this movie is forgivable. Yeah. Based on the fact that, like, it's been earned because of all the movies that have happened before it. You have to do it.
Earned, not given. LeBron James.
Hey, well, I was about to say, I was going about to quote Cersei.
Oh, okay.
You want a whore, buy one. You want a queen, earn her.
Yeah, I don't know, then... Euron, I don't know how, what Euron was doing. She kind of just gave it up there. But yeah, we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, right. No. But yeah, I mean, it was all so earned. I think that all comes down into that very last interaction where Thanos gets the gauntlet and he's like, I am inevitable. And he snaps his fingers and nothing happens. And then you pan over to see Tony and he's like, and I am Iron Man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That line makes me like want to tear up because that's the thing in the theater. Surprisingly enough, I actually didn't have tears fall down my face, but I was like, I think I was partially holding them back in because I wanted to like heavily sob. I think because I was like, I know my face was scrunched up and I was so emotionally just distraught. And what I've thought about more since that day is the fact that like the sad thing is in that moment after it happens. Tony's basically just brain dead, sitting there. Yeah. And he's because he can't he can't say anything, he can't interact. But the crazy thing too is that like until Pepper comes up to him, he doesn't stop fighting until she says, "It's all right, we're gonna be okay," and then he lets himself fade off, and it's like, that's emotional. And then you have you have the voiceover from Tony from where he recorded his memory. It's like, man, And then you see everybody pretty much that's been affected on this journey
Uh-huh.
of heroes for this giant funeral.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was the thing. And then seeing my man Steve, I knew when he survived, I'm like, he's going back in time. He's gonna go back and he's gonna stay with Peggy.
I didn't know it until that moment. So they were going, and then he disappeared, and then soon okay, they count down, he's coming back, and then they look up, and he's not there. Like as soon as that happened, I'm like, oh, he's with Peggy. So I didn't know it until that moment, but like, yeah, I mean that's pretty incredible. Honestly, that was really really sweet. I think isn't that where it ended, where they were just dancing together.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that.
He's the first Avenger, Captain America, the first Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
So
and the funny thing for me, I was talking with one of my roommates about this, is that I think it's smart what they did with Cap because in the comics, Cap gets drained the super soldier serum, and so that's why he reverts to being an old man. And the thing is that if they wanted to, like, let's say 10 years from now, the Russo Brothers do come back and they do like a Secret Wars, and you want to bring Cap involved in that, you can. They could do it through something like that, which would be kind of interesting. And also it would make so many people probably lose their shit, because like, Chris Evans is back as Cap again for like a small moment. Like, it'd be cool. But I just also thought it was really smart and touching. And it's a way for him to still be around, but not like heavily around. He could maybe, because like in the comics he became like, I think, the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. at some venture when he was old like that. But yeah, it was just, that was emotional, because I was like, I've always wanted him and Peggy to get together, and
that was an amazing end for him. Like, to write that in, that was like a really amazing ending. Like, I didn't really think that could happen. Like, I didn't know how that would happen, because I really didn't see like time travel. Yeah, one of my major predictions is, like, I think everyone had this prediction almost, is that we knew Doctor Strange did something.
Right.
And when they were calculating those odds, like if at what point, and then that moment where he's looking over at Tony, when he got the Infinity, like he's waiting for this to happen, he's waiting for the shoe to drop. So everyone had that prediction. So so obviously time travel is a part of it, but I didn't see that happening with Peggy. I thought that was really awesome. Another thing that made me emotional is at that funeral, just seeing the words on that little wreath, like that throwback to earlier, where it's like proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
It was the,
and like this is like
it
show
was the
that
same arc reactor, I think, too. Right.
Well, so I don't know. Did they take it out of it?
Because that was the first one that he had when he came back. That Pepper helped him. Because then Pepper got that frame for him, his very first arc reactor, and so they put that on. They didn't show where they actually buried him though, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I wonder
if it means something, because in there's no post-credit scene either.
Yeah.
There is,
which I think is good. I'm glad they didn't.
I liked it because there is a post-credit scene in a very subtle way. There's the hammering sound.
Oh, I didn't even stay for that.
Oh, so at the very end of all the credits, there's a hammering sound that plays over like the Marvel logo, and it sounds like the hammering that when Tony was building the suit for the first time.
Oh, okay.
But when I first saw it, I thought, is that Thor's hammer? Is that the sound of? Is that what's happening? Because I'm like, could that lead to something? But I think it was just meant to show like this is the end of the like Infinity Saga, the end of the Tony Stark story. Like this is that, and that's the thing when it comes like again, Spider-Man Far From Home is now the quote unquote end of this phase, is what they have officially said. But I still don't. I don't really feel like it needs to be seen, really. Like, I'm gonna go see it. I know that much. But, like, for me, the end of this saga is Endgame.
Same.
Endgame is the end. And not even the end of this saga, but, like, I feel like where it can all be done. Like, I don't need to go see another Marvel movie after this. And that's not a bad thing, per se. But it is an interesting thing to point out just because it's, like, the story's been told and it's complete, and I'm content. And that's where I was talking earlier about the Rise of Skywalker. Is I wonder if they are going to be able to make me feel content, because I've always had a thing where like give me more, I want more. I don't know if it's the fact that I watched a bunch of them recently back to back, or if it's because there's been so much attention to these characters, but I'm in no rush for more Marvel. I'm in no rush to see where they go with stuff, and I'm really satisfied and content with this story.
Yeah. I am too. Like, I think that was like an awesome way to end it. Like I said, it's like I thought it was genius the way they wrapped it up. I'm definitely content, and I definitely think of the Endgame as the end of that. I don't really like thinking of Spider-Man as like, really wrapping it up, but I like to think of Spider-Man starting the next phase because
Right.
I like to think, okay, we've had these huge moments, like we have gone on such a major scale, like so large and so epic. From that first Iron Man, they were just like in the desert, or they were like in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And like from that point on to like how big the scale has gotten is like massive. And so I think it's nice to think about things getting small again. So like going forward, we have like more small character stories, because I feel like everything's wrapped up for our major characters: Cap, Black Widow, Iron Man. And I feel like we're at a good place where their story's over. And so, like, we think about going forward with the new Avengers. Like, I know you're done with them, but I like to, like, think of these as just characters that I love. Like, I love Spider-Man, so I'm excited for more because I
Right.
just want, I don't need the baggage of that whole entire Avengers arc. It will be there because obviously he's going to think back to, like, a mentor in
Right.
Tony Stark. And obviously I think there'll probably be references to things that happened and characters that show up, but I just like to think of it, let's just have these isolated, tell these stories of these characters and see what happens. I mean, because we have the Black Panther and Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, thinking of like what the Avengers will look like going forward. But I'm good for a while. Like, I'm not really hungry for another Avengers movie per
Yeah,
se. Like
I
a group
agree.
movie.
Like, and so yeah, that the one thing I will say is, and I've been telling a lot of my friends this, is that like I'm interested to see where they go from here, because now with all the Fox properties they have now, it would be cool to see them build up to like do a proper Dark Phoenix saga, or do like a lot of these like famous arcs from the comics that
and Fantastic Four could be pretty important too.
Yeah, Fantastic Four could be really awesome. I think that's an interesting point. There is a lot of potential for really nice smaller stories that are more personal, and that's one thing where I will say, and like this is counter to my point earlier, but I'm a huge Spider-Man fan too. I really kind of want like 6 or 8 Spider-Man films with Tom Holland.
Yeah, he's so good.
Because
I mean, he's a little bit like unsure of himself, a little bit too much for my taste, but he's still really good. But
Agreed. But the thing is now, no offense to Tony being dead, R.I.P., but now he can't rely on Tony.
Yeah, he can grow.
He can grow, and you can see the smart Peter Parker that's knowledgeable with science and does build a lot of his own stuff with his suit. And that's the thing. I think there's a lot of cool potential to have Tom Holland fully grow up in this role of Peter Parker in a way that how we had like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine for years.
Yeah, man, that's a good idea.
I want to see Tom Holland grow up, and please don't kill Peter Parker.
Yes.
No, I understand the Ultimate Universe, Miles Morales, I get it. Like, I have a lot of friends who we want to see our Black Spider-Man. I'm like, hey, why can't we do both?
Yeah.
Give me
I
both.
still want to see Peter Parker in pain. Like, okay, your life is falling apart now. You're an old man. You couldn't hold on to Mary Jane. I want to see that pain in Peter.
Yeah.
Like in Spider-Verse.
Exactly.
With that old man. Like, that was like depth to the character. I mean, I'm not trying to get Tom Holland to struggle here, but I think he's a good actor potential. I just want to see individual character development.
No, I totally agree, and that's my thing. I think there's a lot of potential to let us see Tom Holland play this role and see him grow up as Peter Parker and get into like a Peter Parker in his 20s, maybe even get to Peter Parker like in his 30s, where he grows into to a different role, and even I think later having him adopt more of like they did in the comics recently, where he was like almost slightly like a Tony Stark in the sense of like how he was using technology with his suits and things like that. I think that would just be really cool. I think there's a lot of cool potential they could go down that route with.
Yeah, for sure. And as talking about where characters end up, Thor, his story's wrapped up. New Queen of Asgard.
He'll probably
as
be
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Thor will probably be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 though.
Yeah, I know, as Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's true.
No, but that's funny. I mean, thinking of that last moment where like the moments, like I'm so looking forward to that. There was like all these comments about how Thor was fit and good looking and stuff. Like he was a man, and when he was interacting with the Guardians of the Galaxy before. And
Right.
I'm surprised that he didn't talk about that they that they didn't make fun of the fact that Quill didn't make fun of him for being fat.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like stuff like that.
I think James Gunn will probably play with that a lot in the third one. And the interesting thing to me that I was waiting for in the credits was I wanted to see, I'm like, is James Gunn listed as an executive producer on this film? And he was.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes that interesting for me is I'm like going, okay, he knew that Thor was... The script he wrote for Guardians 3 had Thor included in it then. And I'm like, that's dope.
Yeah.
And so when I hear all the actors
That's
going,
good.
I was so looking forward to Guardians 3 and what was going to happen, I'm going, yeah, I was looking forward to it too, I guess then. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, having Thor in it and having all those interactions, what is weird, though, is that Peter's going to be, like, going after Gamora, but it's not the same Gamora.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'll be curious as to what that entails.
Can they fall in love again? Are these souls twisted by fate to bound to be together? Or was it a different Gamora from a different timeline? We'll have to tune in to find out. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We'll see, if anything happens with if there's like, in the comics they talk, there was a female Thor.
Yeah.
I mean, so if they
true.
take ideas of that, we'll see. I'm excited about the future. We don't need these big Avengers movies for a little while anyways.
Right. We'll have a black Captain America now.
Oh yeah, and is he gonna get super soldier powers?
That's what I'm curious, because there is Marvel. So Marvel has announced 3 series in total for Disney Plus. You have WandaVision, you have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you have the Loki series, and all those actors are on those series.
Interesting.
So that will be interesting to see. And I like that approach too, because it means that they won't be playing a big role maybe in the future films.
Yeah.
But they'll be playing
Yeah,
a
I like
role
that.
in these shows. And the Loki, I'm guessing, is the one that Loki is the one from the 2012 timeline that escaped with the Cosmic Cube.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston's awesome, but he had a relationship with Taylor Swift, and maybe over the course, if we do more podcasts, you'll learn that I don't take lightly to fellers messing with Taylor Swift's heart. Anyways, but
I just realized it's been a big weekend for you too, then, because she dropped a new song.
oh yeah,
didn't
that's
she?
true. Well, we don't need to talk about that. Everyone probably hates me now. They're like, I'm never listening to this guy talk again. But
accept us for what we like.
I wanted to say too, real quick, when we're talking about TV shows, I have the thought that those Netflix Marvel shows being canceled. Imagine them because at the beginning there was like references to the attack on New York City.
Right.
Like imagining them try to exist in this world where the snap happened and like half the people were disappeared. You know what I mean? Like I guess they could try to do it like before that, like series before that happened. But like imagine trying to continue those shows like. Trying to have these connections. Well, they're still a part of this larger universe. Obviously, there wasn't connections there later on in those series as much. But like, that would be a big complication, I think. So, like, part of that helps me accept the loss of some of those shows too.
I think the only reason why I can accept the loss of most of those shows is that I mostly only cared about Daredevil. Sorry, Luke Cage. Iron Fist, you're trash. Jessica Jones.
I like that one girl that was on Iron Fist, like his girlfriend. I don't know her name.
But I know who you're talking about.
Big fan. If you're listening right now, I hope you're having a great day. Don't call me. I don't have time for you. I'm just joking. I do have time for you. I just only accept faxes.
Only faxes?
Only fax machines.
I mean, Captain Marvel only takes pagers, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it all works out. I accept those because, I mean, Daredevil has a nice wrap-up. Season 3 is a good endpoint no matter what, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But I'll be curious to see if they do films with them now, because there is the potential for them to do that, and I'm not sure if I want that, but I will say this much. I do want more Daredevil, selfishly, with Charlie Cox in the role, and I want to see him interact with Spider-Man. So that's my other reason
sure.
too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's my reason why I want the characters to. I want Tom Holland to continue to play the character and to grow up as Peter, because I think the stories and the complexity can be. Or the depth to those stories can be really unique and fun.
Yeah, and I love those Easter eggs in the Spider-Man video game with
Nelson and Murdoch.
Yep, those are some good things. But so yeah, honestly, I love this movie. I thought it was so good. I thought it was epic. I mean, maybe it's a thing, like, this is my immediate reaction. I feel like maybe a lot of people are going to be similar to me. Maybe I'll find more problems with it going forward, but I think they ended so many things, like, in an incredible way. I'll probably go back and see it again eventually, but that's a long time sitting in the theater for that. But, I mean...
No, I feel the same way. I feel like I will go back and see this film sometime soon. I will say for myself, after a couple days of thinking about it, there are some like story things that even like coming out of the theater, I was like, that doesn't make sense what they established earlier in the film. But for better or for worse, I'm just gonna ignore it because whatever it takes, I'm going to remember this film very, very fondly for a long time. I'm pretty sure. And I mean that's pretty much all we gotta say.
Yeah, and
about it.
And I mean. I don't know when this is going to come out, if it's ever going to come out, but we do have, Game of Thrones is coming out, the 3rd episode. Did you have any quick thoughts? We haven't talked at all about, what about the first 2 episodes? We can talk about this show being called, Good Luck This Weekend to the Starks.
Yeah, no joke.
See if anyone else is going to be dying in the Starks universe.
I mean, my quick thoughts about Game of Thrones, the first 2 episodes, some people are mad because, like, oh, it's so much build-up. I'm also like, no, it needs to build up because, like, once shit hits the fan, it's going to hit the fan heavy.
Yeah.
Like, depending on what happens in tomorrow's episode, that's going to set the stage for the last 3 episodes of the season, and it's going to be not obvious, but clear in my mind of where things are going to end up or how the rest of the series is going to unfold. I'm expecting a lot of deaths tomorrow. We said, good luck to the Starks this weekend.
Yeah, my quick takes on the first 2 episodes is, I mean, of course they're a little bit slow, but I'm okay with that, like, building up to the final things, because I think one of the great things about Game of Thrones was always that character build-up and that character development and the machinations and the, scheming, but we haven't really had that, especially, like, last season, and, like, just the pacing has been weird, so it's okay. I mean, the first episode, I think it lost a little bit because they were trying to, like, they had so many callbacks to the very first episode of the series, and which, it was cool, but some of the things, like, I mean, they lost a little bit in the show, in some areas, and then the second episode, I mean, those are some awesome moments. I mean, the knighting of Brienne, and then just the characters talking, having these interactions, because if this is the last time we see them, like, as a character instead of just fighting and dying, and then
the things we do for love.
Too bad, Jon and Dany having that conversation at the end. We didn't, we hear the horns blasting, and we all knew, like, okay, wait to hear 3. That's 3 blasts for White Walkers. So and it's interesting. I didn't notice when we were seeing at the end. I didn't see the Night King there. By the way, I saw this funny meme. I don't know if you like Pokemon at all, but in Pokemon there's a Lowland universe where they have forms of the original Kanto Pokemon, and it said Darth Maul, and then it was like fighting Dark type, and then it had the Night King, and it was a Lowland form of Darth Maul.
I did see that,
and Dark and Ice type. So that was pretty funny if you like Pokemon.
No, I did stand. I did get a good laugh out of that. You're right about the Night King not showing up there. I think it's going to be interesting.
Maybe he's in King's Landing.
If
he gives a torched Cersei.
If he went all the way down to King's Landing, that'd be kind of funny and be like, yeah, you guys handle Winterfell. I'm just going to go down there and end this war real quick.
Yeah.
I came to end this war on his Shanks from One Piece. I guess before we jump off, then, in case we don't come back before Game of Thrones ends, we should give very quickly what our predictions are for Iron Throne.
Oh man, I've been going back and forth. Like, for a long time, I was thinking I was just hoping probably it was gonna be Jon Snow, because I had this vision of, like, everyone's dead, everything good. He stuck to his guns. He doesn't want to be the king, but he is, and I just see him, like, holding on to Longclaw sitting on the Iron Throne with his head down, with his hand just on the sword as it's leaning against the chair, or he's holding against the ground. But now I kind of don't think so, because I think in these shows, like, the trope of, having the hero always being the winner, and, like, he's gone from, like, being a bastard, to now he's, like, he's not a bastard, really. He's, the prototypical savior, but really not. I mean, he's gone through some things. He's had a hard journey, too. So, I don't know. We'll see. We're starting to see that Dany maybe... she's showing some cracks. Maybe she's not going to be as
seems
good
like the Mad King type of stuff.
Yeah, not as good of a ruler as we think. So I'm kind of like, part of me doesn't think them. Maybe it'll be something more interesting, like something random. It'd be cool if it was like, Tyrion or Arya or maybe Sansa. Like I'll just
Yeah.
I don't have a good prediction. I'm gonna just say just for I want it to be Jon Snow because he's my dude. I know you said he was your dude, but I'm just gonna say Sansa.
Yeah, I'd say I'm on the same track than I said. But I will say that the reason why I think I wanted it to be Jon Snow, the reason why I think it's gonna be Jon Snow is unless I was hearing the lyrics wrong, the song
That Jenny song.
yeah, like the whole like never wanted to lead thing to me.
Oh yeah.
John and I've heard that the creators say that the ending is going to be the most Game of Thrones ending ever, and it's also going to be bittersweet though. And to me, those two things contradict each other because I don't feel like the most Game of Thrones thing ever is bittersweet and also like Game of Thronesy in the sense. But I think the only thing that could be more bittersweet, the most bittersweet thing would be seeing Jon still on the Iron Throne. And yes, as an audience, we're maybe happy because like everyone loves Jon Snow. But knowing that Jon is miserable in that role because he doesn't want it, and also knowing that like maybe Daenerys has died, maybe a lot of people he's cared about has died, and he's now in this position where he is ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, but he's not happy. He always, and it would be bittersweet too in the sense like he always wanted to not be a bastard. He always like all the things he ever wanted in life, in the end come back to bite him in the ass,
Yeah.
and it's like. I wanted these things, but I didn't know how these things would actually affect me in the long run, and it makes him slightly miserable, maybe. And I think that would be very bittersweet, and I think it would also make sense, you know. But
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. I mean, a part of me like hopefully it's not just all straight battles from here on out because I mean it's like gonna be like 4 movie length. We got through the shorter episodes. It's gonna be longer now, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, I also wanted to ask real quick. I know we're kind of going a little bit longer than we thought, but real quick, what is some media you've been watching lately? Just something new that you've been watching.
something new I've been watching recently. I recently watched The Wolf of Wall Street actually for the first time, and that movie, like, I'm not one of those people that's like, you can't have like sex in like cinema and films and stuff, but like that movie for me, I don't know why, but all I was thinking during most of it was like, holy shit, like there's a lot of sex in this film. Like they're having sex all the time. But I also thought, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio is like a great actor, and he just played that role so well.
Yeah.
And it was good. I really enjoyed it. And then I recently also rewatched The Social Network as well.
Oh, that's good.
And I was like, just great writing, great storytelling too for the most part.
Yeah. By the way, on Wolf of Wall Street, I went and saw it, and it was like me and some an old couple, like really old couple that was watching it, and in the middle of that, they just like got up and walked out. So that's my memory of Wolf of Wall Street.
Wait, because that's almost it's like a minute shy of 3 hours.
Yeah, it was really long. It was really long. I mean, and with the moment that Wolf of Wall Street got to that epic battle between Leonardo DiCaprio and Thanos, the Thanos forces, but
and then he just snapped.
Yeah.
But then he couldn't kill Leonardo DiCaprio because he fought a bear.
That's true, and he was worthy of Mjolnir, or how do you say?
Yeah, I think that's close. I'm not even going to attempt. I am
Thor's hammer.
Yeah, I'm awful at enunciating things.
And just what I've been watching, I was telling Adam, we like anime a little bit, and I was watching. There's a kind of I think it's relatively new on Crunchyroll. The Rising of the Shield Hero. I always like Sword Art Online. It's kind of like that. So it was pretty decent. I mean, it's like not like my favorite, but I like it. And then also one of my students recommended that anime Black Clover. I'm only 4 episodes in. It's pretty good, but I was telling Adam, it seems a little bit derivative. Like maybe all of anime is like derivative of each other at this point, but it seemed a lot like, Naruto and One Piece and like all these elements. I'm gonna be the Wizard King, but so we'll see how it goes, see if I keep up with it, but that's kind of what I've been up to. And one other question, since we're both, some local sneakerologists, we like to think, we think a lot about shoes. I'm always commenting on my students' shoes, what you wearing today? And so that's why I kind of want to ask, what you rocking today, Adam?
So today I was rocking the women's Adidas Ultra Boost Lannister colorway, and I wanted to cut my toes off because, I took the insoles out, and it's still a little tight, though. Still a little tight, but we're making it work.
All right, and I am Adam, as you guys know, if you're listening to this, is an Adidas guy. I'm not an Adidas guy. I'm a Nike guy, probably. You know, my loyalty to King James. But I am also wearing some Ultra Boost. I'm wearing some 4.0, the breast cancer awareness 4.0 Ultra Boost. So that's what I'm rocking today, and that's what Adam's rocking today. That's about all I got.
Hey, cool. And yeah, guys, give us your feedback down below. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you didn't like. If you made it all the way through the hour or so, it's probably gonna end up being like, let us, say, what is dead may never die in the comments. That sounds like a choice.
Can you remember that?
Because Theon gonna die though.
Say, I love you 3000.
I like that, actually. Say I love you 3000.
My mom's the only one that's going to be listening to this show. So, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm going to be home late tonight. The recording went longer. I'll be there soon. Yeah, so that's all.
Hi, Gats, Mom. I just want to let you know I think you're cool. Your son's cool.
Wow, she needed to hear that. She's been going through some tough times, so thank you for giving her that boost. Love you, Mom. Anyways, my name is GatSolar, and thank you so much if you happen to listen to this. I would just want you to have a great summer.
Thanks, guys. We're signing off, and this has been the Menagerie Podcast, Episode 1. Good luck to the Starks.
I love cheeseburgers, too.
Man, come on now.